everybody. And it is afternoon, isn't it?
It is.
Welcome to Toast of the Town with Christy and Mel. We are back. Yay! Woohoo!
It is good to be back, and look at these beautiful new digs. We are here in downtown Conroe and Conroe Tower at IR Lone Star Community Radio headquarters, and boy, it is good to be back.
Oh, it's great to be back, and look at this high-tech equipment in this wonderful room. We're so impressed, Dick. It's awesome.
I know. We took a little bit of a hiatus while they were moving the studio. And
I know. I missed you.
I've missed you too. I feel like we hadn't talked in, 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah, at least. And boy, it's a busy time of year. We've got all kinds of great things going on. We've got great guests in the studio. We, of course, have our glasses here to toast the town and everything that's good about Montgomery County. So for those of y'all who are new to Toast of the Town with Christy and Mel, we want to bring you all of the great stuff going on in and around the greatest community in the greatest state in the greatest country in the world. So welcome if this is your first time here. I promise you we're going to have lots of fun, and we're going to get back into our groove, right?
We are.
Eventually.
I'm excited about the groove.
I'm so excited.
It may be a little bit of a bumpy ride today, but just bear with us.
Please
Remember, some of us are not professional radio people like Christy.
Well, I'm not used to. I don't have my headphones, so it's like I feel
She's
naked.
She
feel
is.
naked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier just to look out on everybody and feel completely comfortable.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, it is a grummy day outside.
Grummy?
Grummy.
What?
Grimy, crummy, gross, so many different
Yeah, but you forgot the cold.
And the cold, yeah. It's pretty cold and nasty outside, but it's a beautiful day inside these walls. So we're here. We're ready to go. We've got some fun things for you. We've got some cool events coming up that, of course, we want to touch on because we have two very, very important guests with us today, so I don't want to just take up.
Actually, two of our favorite people.
Yes, and we don't want to waste a whole bunch of time just going through the motions here. But for those of y'all that don't know, there's a little something going on this week.
There is.
A little something going on.
It's kind of important to you and I.
Yeah, a little bit vital.
But there's a bunch of people running for office who seem to take it a little more seriously than even you and I do.
I know. And so early voting is going on today. So if you decide that you want to get out of the office, make sure you can go and find. And what's so cool about early voting is you can go to any polling location and vote.
That's right.
Makes life so much easier. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. today, tomorrow, and Friday. So you've got some time. We always tell everybody, don't wait till the last minute, because then you never know. Your car might get stolen, or you might stump your big toe, and then you can't get out of the car or drive. So make sure you get in to go vote. Mm-hmm. Of course, we have Election Day coming up on Tuesday, March 1st, and the polls will be open again from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I think it is just so fun that Election Day is on Fat Tuesday this year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a, gosh, I don't, we,
I know.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that.
So whenever I was looking at some events of what's coming up and what's going on this weekend, preparation, because we want to share all the wonderful things that are coming up. And it's like, when it rains, it pours. So you've got Mardi Gras celebrations going on all over town and all outside of town. It doesn't matter. All over the place.
State, really.
All over the place. But there's also, have you ever heard of Crumble Cookies?
Yes, actually, just recently I heard
Well, Crumble Cookies is opening their brand new Conroe location this Friday from 8 a.m. to midnight. It is at 351 South Loop 336 in Conroe. And if you have never had a Crumble Cookie, they are absolutely amazing. Amazing. So I'm sure they're going to have all kinds of specialty deals going on over there. So make sure you go check out the new Crumble Cookies. Always a good time to welcome new businesses to our area.
Absolutely.
And, because this is the greatest place to do business.
It is. And we have people that instill that every day in the work that they do. We have one of those people here today.
Yes, we do. And then also going on this weekend is the Prison City Film Festival, Crawfish Music and Beer Festival in downtown Huntsville. Now, I don't know about you.
How did I not know about that?
Yeah, these are like all my favorite things. Crawfish, music, and beer. My friend Trent Cowie is going to be playing.
Oh.
All in downtown Huntsville, up in your neck of the woods. So I may just have to crash on your couch.
Yeah,
crawfish are going to be $7.99 a pound. But Trent Cowie, fantastic music. It's going to be, I think it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend.
It is.
So come out, get some crawfish, listen to some music, maybe imbibe a little bit.
Just to know for everybody who's headed to Huntsville, my couch is now full.
Yes. I'm going to take up the whole thing. Also, because it is Mardi Gras weekend, there are celebrations going on all over the place. B52 is having one. Fortress Beer Works is actually having a gumbo cook-off this weekend. If you want to do something inside, the Drowsy Chaperone is still playing at the Crichton Theater. So lots of fun stuff going on, all in preparation of so many great things that are going to be happening on Tuesday, which is Fat Election Day. Fat Election Tuesday. I think that works.
That means all of y'all's votes will have extra votes.
Flair?
No, extra votes.
Oh.
You're gonna have plenty of votes.
You know, will they let us like serve like hurricanes outside the polling
I don't
locations?
think we should try
I
that.
think that would work.
I don't think we should.
Or can
try
we
that.
throw
It's
beads
all
at
government
people as they
property.
walk
We can't-
in?
No.
I mean,
well, that you might can do. You
Yeah.
just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
That bead thing is.
I know, that little thing. Also going on this weekend, the Go Texan Parade in downtown Houston is going on. It is the official kickoff. Now, we had our official kickoff here in downtown Conroe at the Go Texan Parade this past weekend, but Rodeo Houston is having their big kickoff this weekend. So we're rolling right into Rodeo Season 2, and then we'll be rolling right into Montgomery County Fair, which is coming up starting on March 25th. So, you know, it is never a dull day in Montgomery County, but it's
Do you want to talk
certainly
about
isn't right
April?
now.
Because I mean, we can go on to April.
Not
We've
even
got
yet.
Easter. We've got.
I know we've got city
Well, we got
elections
late
coming up. We've got
Easter.
so many
City
things
elections?
going
Oh my
on.
gosh.
I know, so many things
Okay.
going on. But anyway, I digress. So, going back,
Yes.
it is early voting. If you do not know what that sample ballot's going to look like, you can go to mctx.org/elections, and you can find a sample ballot. You can look at your polling locations. You can see where everything is getting prepped for Election Day on Tuesday, which we're also going to be talking about some great Election Day watch party events that are going to be coming on too. But we cannot get started, really started today without one thing.
What's that?
And this is get your glass ready.
Okay.
Today is a very special day. Should be a Montgomery County holiday.
What is that?
Oh, it is one of our favorite commissioners' birthdays today. Commissioner James Nowak, happy birthday. Cheers to you from the Moxie Girls. We look forward to celebrating you. And thank you for all you do here for Montgomery County, for everybody in Montgomery County as a member of Commissioner's Court. So cheers to you. Hope it's a great day.
Absolutely.
I know.
Always. Well, we want everybody to have a great day, but you especially today. Birthdays are big.
Sometimes. Mine aren't.
Mine
anyway.
aren't.
Anyway. So I think you should go ahead and introduce our guests.
Well, I'm excited. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna start with the ladies first.
Okay.
First of all, we have Stephanie Hall with us. She is running for the 9th Appellate Court of Texas. Did I say that properly? You would think I would know that by now.
I think Ninth Court of Appeals.
9th Court of Appeals.
Yes.
Appellate Court. Okay, 9th Court of Appeals. Okay, I like that better actually. It's more clarifying. And she is running for that, and you have one opponent, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then we also have Judge Mark Keogh, County Judge Mark Keogh, and you're all familiar with him because he's been on our show a number of times. He likes us. Anyway.
Indeed.
And we are so glad to have him with us. He is the judge that keeps us working.
There you go.
Yes, kept businesses open, and you're the one that have rolled out the red carpet to invite everybody. Hey, come on and do some business in Montgomery County.
It's amazing what's going on in Montgomery County. What
Yeah.
a privilege. What a great time to be the county judge.
Yes.
What a great
Absolutely.
time to run for the 9th Court of Appeals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stephanie, that's fabulous.
Absolutely.
So, Stephanie, this is your first run for office.
Yes, it is.
So we know that it can be a bit of a circus, to say the least. There's more than 3 rings and lots of monkeys. But what do you think? What's your first impression?
It's a lot like I thought it was going to be because, you get to go out and you get to meet the people. I think that's the number one important thing that I've gotten to do. In this particular race, I will say that I cover 9 other counties.
Yes.
So that's been a little daunting, but I have really enjoyed going out to all of the counties. And Montgomery County, I felt like, I knew it, but it is a large county and it gets larger every day.
Yes.
But I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most is getting to know the people and getting to speak with the people, and that's been my number one best thing that's ever happened. And
Yeah.
really, I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. It has really taught me a lot.
What about the little counties? Are they fun?
I hate to say it, but They're tons of fun, yes, because you really get to know people on a more intimate level, and they're just, I mean, they're just all right there together and all in one place. Here in Montgomery County, you know, we have
gotta put
all
your
different,
tennis-
yes.
Put your tennis shoes on.
It's a lot of area to cover, and so I don't get to see everybody like all at one time.
Right.
But and I'm not saying I get to see everybody all at one time in these other counties, but you get more of a sense of what the county is like by going there and going to the courthouse. I've been to probably each courthouse and met some of the staff and the elected officials and things like that, and it really gives you a great sense of what that county's like.
Do you find they're more can't think of the right word. Do you find that they're more attentive? They're closer together as people and friends and so forth, and it makes it easier for you to communicate with them, or do you find that people are people and they're pretty much the same everywhere?
Well, I think they're pretty much the same everywhere, but I have had a great sense of being out in these smaller counties about how committed they are to the Lord and how much that they're interested in Christians running for office. That has really been something that I've been actually a little bit more surprised about than what I thought. I think they're very much wanting that to happen. They see where that's an important component to where they live
So
and
gratifying,
who
too.
they are. Yes, it is, very much so, yes.
Well, you know, I think it's one thing too, because we all lead such busy lives. You know, whether it's chasing kids and work or running for office, whatever. But you know, whenever you kind of take a minute to pause and go and see some of these outer line communities that, you know, not only are they our neighbors, so we have a lot in common, but you know, it's kind of nice to be able to slow down a little bit and get outside the hustle and bustle so much and to be able to visit with some other folks.
And here's a guy who likes people.
Hey, I'm here.
So what are your thoughts about all this?
We know as Stephanie was speaking, I thought about the distances that you travel in the different counties and whatnot. You know, when I was in the House of Representatives, people would say to me, "Oh, isn't it great to have such a small territory?" And I'm thinking, small South County. You know, it was all of the Woodlands, about 6% of Conroe was over towards Magnolia. Shenandoah, Oak Ridge, you know, I'm thinking, I'm putting signs out on these roads, and I'm thinking, this place is huge.
Right.
Well, when I actually ran for county judge and I found out that this place was 1,150 square miles, that I could go 29 miles across the county. I mean, it's remarkable how big this place is, and so I can certainly identify with that. And with us, it's kind of like different counties. I mean, you know, you've got the North County, East, South, and West, and they're like 4 different planets.
Totally different identities.
But they all have this in common: they are red patriots.
Yes.
We are Republican. And there's a difference between a Montgomery County Republican, I'm telling you, and a Harris County Republican.
Amen.
We are a different people. And as I'm
You're
at the
right.
polls and as I talk to people, and they talk to me, I mean, it's glaringly obvious that we have a different mindset in Montgomery County. It's very exciting. The real exciting thing was when we had over 80,000 people at the Trump rally
Yes.
from Montgomery County. I mean, they came from all over, but it was mostly Montgomery County people.
Right.
You know, so I mean, that tells you volumes, I think, about our mindset here in this county.
Sure. Well,
So-
you know, in the last 4 years, obviously there have been some really crazy things that have happened, and we've dealt with some natural disasters and dealing with COVID and everything else.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the biggest things that's different running for re-election this time around than it was for running for county judge the first time?
Well, you know, I have to tell you, when I ran for county judge the first time, we looked at and did an evaluation of what was important to people. No question. We came up with a contract with Montgomery County. And we have done every single thing on that contract, and that contract still is important to people. You know, it's important that we keep our taxes down, that we don't, as our appraisals go up, that we drop the rate to compensate for the difference. That's important to people so they don't get priced out of their houses every year. It's important that we ended the toll on Highway 242 because that road was paid for. And so we didn't keep it on as an additional tax. You know, these are important things to people. The idea that we keep Montgomery County first, that the mindset of this governance, all of us on this commissioner's court, is Montgomery County first. And that was best demonstrated during the pandemic.
Yes.
I mean, that was amazing, man, what took place during the pandemic. Even though we closed for a short period of time, we were in agreement, we saw the need, we felt like we acted on the need, we took a measured approach. But at the end of 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, we found that the numbers and,
right.
and the models that were given to us on what was going to take place were in an alternative universe from what reality was. And from that point
Absolutely.
forward, the whole court fought. I fought. I was obviously a spokesman since I'm the county judge. But in continuity with our Homeland Security and emergency management, right through the vaccinations, through resisting the mandates and the you know, all the nonsense with all the mask mandates. I mean, these poor people are in bondage in these other counties. Harris County's still on code red.
Right.
It's amazing. I mean, that is another planet.
Hey, Dallas is, I heard yesterday, I was coming through Dallas yesterday, and they have moved down to orange.
Good deal.
Well, you know, and it's
No, I'm sorry it's a blue county, though. The fact that they moved it all.
Well, you know, it's, you know.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, you know, we've done both ends of the gamut in a relatively short period of time as far as, you know, whenever the instructions were coming down from these other entities that were telling everybody, oh, this is going to be disastrous and everybody's going to die and you got to
Right.
wear a mask, you can't leave your house and blah,
Right,
blah, blah.
right.
And y'all reversed it so quickly, but thinking about, you know, in relative sense, and you think about, you know, where we were then, and then here we are in, you know, in a relatively short period of time, having a Trump rally here with so many people.
The quintessential super spreader event.
Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I even announced it when I got up and I did the invocation in the introduction. I said the home of the open meetings.
Yeah.
We're not going to see us meeting like this. We actually get together and meet. Do you know, in our court, we never one time shut down that court. Commissioner's Court, we never required masks. We didn't have shields between us. One of the guys had some comorbidities, so he wore a mask, but it was pretty remarkable.
Well, it's a testament to the leadership and the values that we have here in Montgomery
That's
County
right.
that people knew. We all know that we didn't have time to put life on hold.
Stephanie, what do you see when you're out traveling around in terms of the COVID? I mean, is pretty much everybody's lost it in the counties that they're done with all this?
Yeah, I think they're done. I mean, I don't see any masks at all. I mean, it's the same as it is here in Montgomery County. It's exactly the same. And people are just not even really that concerned. I mean, and they're taking the precautions they need to take if they've got
For themselves,
yeah,
absolutely.
for themselves or whatever. But they're just leading their lives and going forward, just like we are here in Montgomery
Sparkling water.
County.
Yes, absolutely. It's sparkling water. We have to. We have certain principles we have to follow within. You know,
Sure.
We're out during the day. We're going to have
Sparkling
water.
water works.
But it's a toast to the town. So.
That's right. So
Well, so we were talking about the county judge and what he as in that position, what is important in his campaign, in his platform. What do you feel like is the most important thing, first of all, to you, and do you feel like it's the same to people, to your constituents?
Well, I think it is. I mean, I think what I'm seeing right now is that people are saying that they're recognizing that this court is probably the most conservative intermediate appellate court that there is in all of Texas. And so they recognize that. And the justice that's retiring is Charles Krager, who I've known for decades, and actually
Such a nice guy.
to have that legacy continue, for that to be the most conservative appellate court is what's really important for people. So, you know, I'm not out there promulgating like, oh, we're going to make these changes, we're going to revert back to this, we're going to do this or that. It's really kind of boring, but it's good. It's all good. It's keeping the court exactly the same and to interpret and uphold the laws exactly like they have been. And so just to keep that going, because that's very important. I've often talked to people about the fact that, you know, this is kind of like the appellate court is like a ship with a rudder. You don't see that rudder, but that rudder is very important, and it keeps that ship going just in the correct
And stable.
lane.
And stable.
And
too.
stable. Stability is very important because we've had so much chaos, at least in our federal government.
Sure.
And so we need to keep it all, you know, constant. And I think that's really important. People understand that.
Good.
And they really want that when I'm out there talking to them.
Good. That makes me happy.
So what compelled you to run?
Oh, well, Okay, so when I
Because nobody just wakes up one day and says,
No.
I think I'm going to put my life on hold and make it really crazy and go serve my community.
Wait, I got one more thing.
Oh,
You said you're the most conservative, you're running for the most conservative court,
yes,
but we're in the most conservative state
yes.
in the country. So that makes you like probably the most conservative appellate court in the country, too.
Oh, and that's a very good point. I hadn't thought about that, but that's probably correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So, anyway, so what was your question again?
What compelled you to run? What made you decide to run for office?
Well, okay, so what happened was Justice Krager, who I've told you I've known for a while, he announced his retirement. And so I really thought about that because that would be the bench that I would want if I was to do that. And I just didn't know he was going to retire. So I decided I would pray about it for a week. And I always keep a pad of paper next to my bed. And I did that, and I prayed about it. And as I prayed about it for a week, 3 things came to my mind. And so basically it was the 3 things were that I had a passion for the law, but the reason I have a passion for the law is because it's based upon Judeo-Christian principles. And so, you know, when I tell people is that if I were to go to a European country and practice law or to be a judge there, it wouldn't be near as exciting because it's based upon Judeo-Christian principles. And then the second thing is I have a relentless pursuit of the truth. And I have a lot of people know this about me that have worked with me as attorneys, that I can drive them crazy looking for the right answer. But I think that's a good quality.
Attention to
have.
details.
Sure.
Yes, and I just really do that. And then the third thing that really put me over the edge was that I have a faith in Christ. And I think that, you know, you keep hearing about, well, 2022 is going to be the year that's going to make a difference. This is going to be a difference if we have really strong candidates in there, and not just conservative Republicans, but also Christians. And, you know, I tell people, I think about this all the time, is like our founding fathers were out there and they were creating this government. And I think every night when they went home and then they came back the next day, they're always telling each other, hey, I prayed about this, or I prayed about that. Because all wisdom, real wisdom, comes from God. And so I think our judges particularly need that wisdom. And so I think it's really important to have a really strong person in there that's not only just a Republican and a conservative, there's nothing wrong
Right.
with that, but also to be a strong Christian too.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of were the 3 things that God gave me, and that's what I've been running on from the beginning.
That's awesome. That's
So you're not going in as an activist, Judge?
No, I've decided not to do that. That's not a good idea.
well. What does the county judge think about all candidates being good Christians?
Well, you know, the Constitution tells us that we don't have office in our respecter of any particular one religion. We don't have a state religion. But I don't think there's any question that our founding fathers had a connection to God through Jesus Christ. There's no question about
No.
that.
Correct.
And the references to the Old Testament and the Old Testament law and the statutes and whatnot, even in Washington, that you see these busts on the wall of Moses. And I mean, it's just remarkable what you see. So that's in our DNA. Any way you want to look at it, it's in our DNA. And I think that having people who really abide in the Lord and who walk with God and have a relentless pursuit for knowledge and for wisdom through and understanding how it works is essential to good governance. I can't tell you, especially during all that COVID stuff, man, that was a crapshoot. Nobody knew what was going on.
Right.
Think about this. President Trump shut down the government. Abbott shut down the local government. Even DeSantis in Florida shut down their government. Undoubtedly the most conservative governor in the country. They closed down Ford Motor Company to not build cars, and they have them building incubators instead. You have a hospital ship in San Francisco, a hospital ship over in New York, and my health district comes to me, and to their defense, they weren't making a prediction. They were saying, this is what the models show.
And this is what we're being told.
That's right. The models show we're going to have 100,000 cases in Montgomery County by the end of April. And we're going to have probably, and could have up to 1,000 people die.
Right.
Representative Toth, he came back from Austin. We met in a whole group, all these political subdivisions, mayors, representatives. I'll never forget this. I went in there. He told us that the models were showing we could lose up to 20% of the people of Texas. So with all that in mind, I can tell you, if I did not have a fixed theological perspective
Right.
where I could operate without fear, there's no telling for me what we would have done.
Right.
But I felt like, we went with the science for 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. Flatten the curve is what they said. It takes 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And when I saw the difference between what the models were predicting and what reality was, it was like we were in an alternative universe. And so all that together for me, I moved forward very quickly. And I did that based upon some principles found in the book of Proverbs. First of all, if you make a mistake, or if you feel like you're not moving in the right direction, a fool stays on that track. At the end of 2 weeks, I said, no, man, we're not continuing with this. And I think that's part of what leadership does. They make decisions, they do things, and they make course corrections. That's exactly what we did. It was amazing what took place. And talk about fade and heat from other counties, from the people south of the border. When I say south of the border, I mean south of Spring Creek, down in Harris County. And so it is my faith that has carried me through this, and my thinking about what the Scripture says about dealing with people, how to deal with them, in so many different factors, that to have a real live Christian who understands the Word of God and understands the wisdom to apply it is awesome. She can do that. You know how come I know that?
Why?
She's in my church, and she teaches the kids in my church every Sunday.
Oh, wow.
A faithful soldier. You just trust that to anybody? Not in our church.
Well, what does that say about leadership, though?
Well, I think that if you want to lead, you have to demonstrate humility, and Christ said, as much as you treat these little ones,
Exactly.
you better do the right thing.
Well,
Exactly.
if anything can teach you
Exactly.
humility, it's running for office. And I've never even done that before, but I can tell you, it's an interesting atmosphere out there with people.
It is.
I mean, it's and I think some people might read that as a negative connotation. That's not what I meant. If you ever want to get an interesting snapshot of politics in your community, take the time to go work a polling location for a day, because it is interesting. You get to see different personalities. You get to see people, how they react to adversity, and how they are able to get along. And most people, are very respectful. I know, it can be a little tense sometimes, and some people want to get very abrasive and take things into a negative direction. But you can see the professionalism of those that are running for office, and they want to carry that same sense of professionalism into office.
Sure.
And I think that that's really refreshing to see. But it's also a really great opportunity, for those of you that still haven't voted, or you're still trying to decide how you're going to cast your vote in some of these elections. It really is a good opportunity to go out there and talk. Don't just listen to how somebody is telling you to vote. Go talk to these folks that are running for office and their representatives that they have out
Right.
there, because they're going to tell you why you should vote for them, and you can make that choice for yourself, how your values align
Sure.
with that particular candidates. And I think that that's one thing. Well, I know it's one thing that I'd love to see everybody getting back to. Doing your research, getting to know these candidates.
Yeah.
I've had my kids involved in politics in a lot of different ways for many years now, and a big part of why is because I want them to understand, do your research on who your elected officials are going to be, because that does matter to you, and it does matter to the decisions that happen every day. I mean, look at you as county judge, not only in your role as county judge, but also the way that you've helped work together with the other commissioners on Commissioners Court to make vital decisions for this county in the direction that we've gone. And you look at the growth of Montgomery County, you look at the growth of the city of Conroe, you look at the economic stimulation that's all around us, and businesses coming in and people wanting to move here, so developments that are coming in and all the decisions that go into that. And because we have such great people in leadership, we're able to really foster an environment that invites that.
Awesome. Thank you. I was at a meeting with a group of Oh, it was a bunch of political subdivisions again, and there were developers and whatnot. But I was on stage with a group of business guys, and the question was with this group. It was down in the Anadarko building, probably a couple hundred people there, and the question was, why Montgomery County? What a great question. So these business guys, to a person,
Did they get tired before you finished?
to a person, stable government, business-oriented government. You can't have a healthy community without a healthy economy.
Correct.
Period. End of story.
Absolutely.
The economy must be moving if people are going to live and be healthy. You know, and the government should never be in the business of choosing winners and losers. Those businesses that are essential or non-essential. That is pure nonsense that we would do that. And to see what took place when we came off of our deal, off of our order that we had put out there after 2 weeks, it was unbelievable. Everybody else is still hunkering down. Everybody all around us was contracting. My goodness, the level of activity that started immediately here in Montgomery County was incredible. These are all essential things to understand that in this government here, we work together to get things done here. There's always armchair quarterbacks that say and can look back and say, I would have never done that. Well, if that's the
benefits
case,
of hindsight.
well, but even so, that's irresponsible. How can you look at the evidence of all that was taking place? You got the President Donald Trump of the United States, the governor. You have the governor of, as I mentioned, of Florida, plus others, Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were a number of people that are moving in a particular direction. She did not close, but she was very much opinionated on all this. And then the other stuff that went along with it, and then your own health department district comes to you and says, this is what we're going to have, and you're just going to keep on. There was a question about the constitutionality of it. Let me remind everybody, in the 10th Amendment, anything not mentioned in the U.S. Constitution is delegated to the states. And in our our state legislature, they have given the governor broad legislative authority as it relates to this kind of event. They even tried to take some of it back,
Right.
but they didn't.
Right.
And so that was passed on down to county judges and to local governments. And so this idea that this was totally unconstitutional, that is disingenuous to say that at best.
Well, I think too. I mean, you know, it'd be different if we had a pandemic that, you know, we had all gone through and experienced that. This was a totally different experience than any of us have ever lived through personally. And, you know, and in this world that we have where it's very migratory, people are in and out in the county, outside the county, coming into town, flying and doing business in other states. You know, we're all so busy and moving around, even with all of the telecommunication abilities that we have now.
Yeah.
You know, there was no choice in order to get a handle and figure out, like, you know, everybody be still for a second and let's see what we need to do.
Well, think about this. They're trying to have a meeting with HJC or the TPC. They're not going to meet with Montgomery County in person.
Right.
So guess what? We had to go along
Yeah.
with a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff. All of our Zoom activity
Of
and,
course.
and with our legal department, just interacting with the normal business we do with other counties, not to mention the state. So, you know, this has been, these are exciting times. And I do believe that in this re-election process and election process, that we have great things coming ahead of us. We just need to keep it going.
Yeah.
If there was ever an appeal that I would make to the people, it's not just about me and re-elect me. It's about keep this court together. There are 3 of us that are up for re-election, and that represent different parts of the county. And we don't do everything right. Okay, we make mistakes. We forget to put something backup on something on the consent agenda. But that doesn't mean throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
What planet are these people living on? Montgomery County is doing so well. We're moving in the right direction. We have plans in place. We just need to stay together and keep cool. Let's get through this election. Make sure we get Stephanie, get you on board.
Yeah.
And
And then let's celebrate.
let's just celebrate.
And then let's celebrate on
You know,
Fat
at the end of
Tuesday.
the primary, we've got nobody. There's just very few Democrats running against us. So
Yeah.
whoever wins these primaries, it's over. But not for me. if we're going to stay red, you will run a
Oh,
campaign
absolutely.
in the fall.
Absolutely.
Well,
Do it
and
again.
and more than that too. It's just
Get the
it's
vote out.
keeping and I think too, as a community, well, all over the country, all over the world, a lot of communities are still healing and getting to know each other and having great dialogue and doing positive things to help those that need it and support our nonprofit organizations
Sure.
that do wonderful things, and get everybody back to living, but get more people involved in their community. I think if anybody if you could take anything away from the last few years and all this craziness, I think more people have realized how much more we need community than we ever thought that we did. And, you see, as we go into, rodeo season and fair season, and you see these kids that are getting involved with fair on all kinds of different levels, raising animals, building things, baking things, whatever. And you see them really start buying into the idea that, life is bigger than just me.
Right.
And so these kids are getting it. The kids are realizing that they didn't, they thought it was really cool at first to not have to go to school, and then they realized real quick that really stunk because they needed that sense of community. And,
Right.
And people, I think, are starting to
The
realize
community that's huge. We came up during this time. We formulated some mantras that I will carry with me to my grave. That is, you can't have a healthy community without a healthy economy.
Right.
Government should never be in the business of choosing essential and non-essential
Right.
businesses. But thirdly, and I think probably most important, God created us for community.
Yes.
We are healthier, we are smarter, we are more energized, we are more entrepreneurial, we are more loving, we have less addictions. The amount of addictions that have come from isolation is unbelievable. It's a travesty that we put this on all these, and especially all these people around us. And some communities, even within the county, some got on board a little bit later than others, and they still had parks closed. And
Yeah.
you got to be kidding me, man! People need to be together. I was in Hawaii. With my son a few months ago, and as I went over there, we got off. We went deep sea fishing in Oahu, and we went snorkeling as well. We were on the beach. Sun is shining. The wind is blowing. The waves are crashing, and we're in this little lagoon. And these families out there, whole families, wearing masks,
A couple of days
contact
ago,
tracing
yeah.
in the restaurants.
Yeah.
I'm going, these people are living in fear. They're in bondage. They're living into a form of slavery, of fear over something that is not chasing them.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that is currently in Hawaii. Her name shall remain nameless because I'm jealous that I'm not there. But they were out in Hawaii, and there were some folks just kayaking, masks on.
Yeah.
And it's just I just can't even imagine. I don't know about y'all, but I can last about 5 seconds with a mask on my face. Obviously, I was not meant for surgery to conduct surgery.
Yeah, you're
but-
in your right profession.
But yeah, because the mouth has to have freedom of mobility. But and to see, and look, it's kind of like you were saying, people that take care of themselves and take necessary precautions for themselves. More power to you. That's the wonder about living in this amazing country that we do, is we have the ability and the right to do what's right for ourselves. But
We have
goodness.
choice.
Yes, we do.
We have choice, not mandates.
That's right.
Yes.
So.
I know, but so many things that are coming up because we were able to reopen, because we have this
Yeah.
mentality of this community with things coming back. One of the first events that we were able to do was the Conroe Cajun Catfish Festival.
Oh, yeah.
In 2020.
That was awesome.
And that was, thanks to
Wow.
you and some of the great leadership that we have here locally with the city of Conroe, with Montgomery County, with the state of Texas, that came on board and said, we're going to figure out a way to make this happen. And it was another one of those instances where everybody said, oh, it's going to be a super spreader event. Never happened.
The governor came out with a mandate at that time. That
Mm-hmm.
it was if you were going to meet in groups of over 12, you had to get permission from your county judge. So I came out with a resolution and an order, and I held it up, and I put it on
This is it.
on media.
Yeah.
Here is the order. Anybody who wants to meet with over 12 people has permission to do it. Period.
Good for you. That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And, you know, they did all the right things, you know, went here in doing the things that gave people a choice. They had hand sanitizers all over the place. They had lines on the ground for social distancing. There were thousands of people that attended this when people were doing nothing anywhere in the state.
Yeah.
And to the best of my knowledge, I don't know of any direct element or direct transmission of COVID to anybody that I've
Right.
at least heard of.
No.
You know, who knows in a super spreader event like that, people just don't come clean.
Well, but you know, that was early on in the big process, you know, and then then we have the Trump rally, and we have what they say 80,000 people. Is that
Yeah.
that was the estimated number? And I still haven't heard anything, you know.
Not at all.
And I know
Zero.
that some parts of the country are thinking, you know, oh, those crazy wacky Texans down there just stirring it up. But
How's
you
it
know
like
what?
to be in an appellate court in Canada?
Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine such a thing?
I know, it'd be crazy.
It's mind-boggling. I mean,
Yeah.
it's turning into pure tyranny.
Well,
Their confiscation of
Exactly.
people's funds from bank accounts and the
Just-
rest.
I
Are you
heard-
kidding me?
no, listen, there was a lady, she was a single mom, 2 kids, and worked I don't know, waiting tables or something. It was a fairly challenging life that she led, and
Right.
she made a contribution before it was illegal to make a contribution,
Mm-hmm.
and they closed her account and took her money.
It's unbelievable. And
I can't.
I'm telling you,
I just can't.
that would never happen. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen in the U.S., but it will never happen
Right.
in our state or in Montgomery County.
Which is why it's so important that everybody gets out to the polls. I don't know if
Yes.
I've plugged this enough yet, but early voting is going on today, tomorrow, and Friday from
Absolutely.
7 a.m. to
Right.
7 p.m. Election day is on Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You know, if there's, you know, it's so great too with it being Fat Tuesday. You can go vote. And if you want to take off the rest of the afternoon
Absolutely,
and have a
just
Mardi Gras
go.
celebration, go find some
Yeah.
crawfish, you
Oh,
know.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and because we live here, there are lots of opportunities for that. But
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit first. How do they find you on the ballot? Are you at the top? Are you at the bottom? Are you mixed in? Where are you?
In Montgomery County, I'm first on the ballot
Oh,
for Ninth Court of Appeals.
very good.
Yes, but
That's
it's
exciting.
different in every county.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So
So that judicial spot is with the state stuff, or is it with the county stuff?
I believe it's with the state.
Okay,
So
okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm really almost like in the middle. So it's a little hard to find, but I'm in the middle.
But
because-
don't give up before you get to the
To
before
the
you get to that
Stephanie
part.
Hall.
Yes, so don't give up yet.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yes.
Keep going.
And we kind of know where you are.
Yep, I'm kind of mid-range.
Kind of mid
And
range.
after the state guys and the district
Yeah.
stuff, you know, the district courts and whatnot.
So where are
the
you on the
appellate
ballot?
court, I'm number 2. There's 3 of us, and I'm number 2 on the ballot.
Excellent.
So, you know, I kind of like being number 3. Because every time I have a forum, then I'd get the last word.
Speaking of forums, you know, being the conservative county that we are, and with
Yeah.
so much great population and activism that goes on here, you know, we have 8 Republican groups now. Is that right? 8 Republican ladies groups,
Yeah.
plus clubs and all kinds of things that have happened over the last couple of years. But there have been a number of forums, a bunch of forums. Can you even have
How
you even
many is it?
counted? Have y'all
11?
even
10 or
It's
11,
been a
yeah,
bunch.
yeah.
But you know, it's been cool this year though to see some of these groups coming up with some different ways to do it. You know, they had one at the Crichton that was cool with some of our candidates for governor that
Yeah.
were there, and I know that there was one that happened in the Woodlands that was almost like a speed dating kind of setup that went on. Have you found a format that you think is more inviting, or that's easier for a candidate, or that the general people you think are getting more out of? What do we take away from this as far as planning them in 2 years when we start this over
Well,
again?
when you have a forum where you invite everybody and their brother to come and speak, first of all, they do not have adequate time. They
Yeah.
can't interchange with each other in comments. And the forums that where they take a particular group, they give them a time, they have set questions ahead of time. Everybody gets the same question. And then they have a chance to rebut if they choose to, and they give them some time to do that. And it's for me. I think that the guy who's the incumbent should always be last to speak.
Well,
And we'll tell
that
you why.
used to be the way it was.
Well, but they do it in ballot order now.
Yeah.
But not everybody. They can do it however they want. But it just makes sense to me that the people who have been in the position, who have worked it, have spent the time, have made the effort, have made the sacrifices, these challengers coming up, which I think is great. But why should they get a greater priority than the person who's already invested their time and effort?
And I'm serious. It used to be that way. All forums used to be that way.
Yeah.
It was a thing. It was the way, for the exact reason you just said. This guy has been there. He's fought the battle. He at least deserves the right to explain to you why he's done what you said he hasn't or has done incorrectly.
Yeah, because what happens is they question performance, and you don't get a chance to even make a comment about it, as that is the last comment that they make, and that's what's left with the people. I think that's fundamentally wrong, because if the accusations are made, it's the American way. The American way is you get to stand before your accuser and give an answer.
Right. That's right.
It's kind of, don't you think, Stephanie? You're the judicial
Well, I think
person.
so. I think for the judicial races, all of them, not just mine. I think it's a little bit different, only because at least for this election cycle, we all get along and we all kind of have, where we don't have big controversies or things
Right.
we want to change or anything like that. And so I think that the forum for us might be a little bit different. I think the one that I like the best, and then I got more feedback from that was the best for us anyway as judicial candidates, was I think it was Lake Conroe Republican Women put it on. And what they did was they gave us 2 questions that night, and we incorporated that into our 4-minute speech.
Oh, wow.
And
that's
so
very
that
cool.
worked out well for us. Now, I will say in contested races like Mark's in, where there's different ideas about how
Right.
to do things, I think you do need to have time for rebuttal and the last word and things like that. But I think judicial races are a little bit different, so I think that maybe they could be handled, differently too. I think the one thing I'd like to see on the forums, because this is my first time, and I knew what they were like. I've been to a lot of them myself, but there's like a lot of them. And so I know I'm on the board for Liberty Bell's Republican Women, and I am going to tell them at some point, ladies, let's throw down the gauntlet. Let's be the first ones to see if we can get us all together on one page and have one big forum, because it's just too much of, it's exhaustion for the candidates. I'm fine, but it's just.
Well, and you're traveling 9 counties too, so that's a lot of work.
Well, and there's other forums in other counties.
Another
too.
county, exactly. That's what I mean.
And so anyway, but it would be nice if we could, and I would like to see that anyway, just for some aspects of the Republican Party to get together and come up with one thing, and that would be one where maybe the Republican women, I don't know if they will or not, but come up with a format where they could all agree
Sure.
and have one big event.
Sure.
Maybe everybody can benefit from it one way or another. So
Well,
that'd be
and
great.
and there's just this, and of course I've been around it a long time, but there's just this prevailing idea that, well, they're running for office, they can do it. They're running for office, they can pay for it. They're running for office.
Excuse me.
There's table rental. It's ridiculous the number of things that you're asked to do as a candidate over and over and over. Well, we haven't got anything from you, but that's what everybody says. And so I think it would be fantastic for a group to get together and take out the insides of the entire county center, the out there.
Convention
county,
center.
Yeah, thank you, the convention center, and just line it with chairs and put people out there and have it and have 2 of them, or whatever it takes.
I think we should just pare it down and just have a big axe throwing tournament.
There you go.
And if people are going to be throwing swords and knives at each other anyway, you might as well give them a target where it sticks in wood, and then there's bragging rights involved. See?
Absolutely.
I think we've made this way too complicated. I think it's time to start paring it
It's
down.
awful
some.
hard to go and to sit for 5 hours.
Oh no, don't, I wouldn't talk
To
about that.
speak 3 minutes.
Yes.
It's forget about what it does to us.
Right.
There's nobody there that stays to listen.
Well,
and the only
that-
people who are there are family or on staff of the people that are
or
running.
political nerds like us that
And-
just show up anyway.
Yeah, and those people have already heard it.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, we were making a joke the other day that we had so many forums this round that what we should do is the next one, if we have any more, is take a bucket and you draw a name and you give their speech.
Oh,
Everybody knows what everybody's going to say.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is.
Isn't that good?
You know what? That could get real interesting, especially with some of these races we've got going on.
It's pretty amazing.
You know, there's always a listening ear, right? But
Right.
but
That's exactly right.
I think there are, you know, there's some ways I think we could do it. And the cool thing, you know, I will say this about having some multiple events is, you know, sometimes, you know, you've got folks that, oh, they've got something with their kid this one night, but oh, they can put that on their calendar.
Yeah.
But I think what it all boils down to is the importance of, you know, I made a speech the other day at a networking event, and it was about the way that what it takes for somebody to be able to make themselves vulnerable to run for office. And it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of money, it's a lot of commitment. It's more than just you, it's your families, it's your coworkers, it's your staff. It's a big machine to decide to do this and a huge commitment. And in my opinion, you know, I'm going to give respect to anybody that shows me respect. And the fact that y'all respect me enough and my family enough to put yourselves out there to run for office, then I owe you the respect to get to know you and listen to your messaging.
Bless you.
And go and cast my vote accordingly.
Yeah.
But I've seen, you know, you go out and you see how people treat each other with a high level of respect and regard, and that's what I want in my elected officials. And because I've been out to see y'all at these forums and see you meeting other people, it paints that picture. So, you know, if you can, I know, you know, this is kind of the down to the last bit, but if you're still trying to decide who to vote for, go out and visit with some of these candidates at
Absolutely.
polling locations, or go to some of these organizations' Facebook pages and watch the videos of some of these forums that have gone on, so that you can get a feel of who the kind of character that's going to be sitting in that office, because I think
Absolutely.
that's really important. You know, but there's still time. There's still time to make great, educated choices in the polling
Absolutely.
booth before you get there.
Absolutely.
well, we sure would like to thank both of you for being here today.
Yes.
This is awesome.
Oh,
This
thank
is
you
awesome.
very
I know,
Thanks,
and
congratulations to you guys kicking this
I know.
off.
we're so
I know,
ready.
we're exci-
So y'all gonna have to come back post election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then we can really talk about all the crazy stuff that happened. But you know, make sure that y'all too that you mark your calendar for every Wednesday for Toast the Town with
Toast
Christy
the
Mel. We're
Town.
officially back. And for those of you that don't know, the reason we toast is because we make it through the hump hour of the hump day in the middle of the week. And goodness, we all just really need to start toasting the great things that
We
surround
do.
us every day
We do.
and all the positivity. So thank y'all again for being here.
Thank
You're
you.
almost
Thank
to
you.
the finish line. Hang in there,
Hang in there.
rejuvenate. I hope y'all celebrate big on Tuesday on what did we say? Fat Election Tuesday? Fat Election Tuesday?
Yeah,
Election
that's-
Fat? Anyway. And make sure that you're subscribing to Moxie Innovative on our Facebook page. Also, if you go to irlonestar.com, or if you're listening to 104.5 or 106.1 on the FM dial, you can also listen to us live there too. I promise you we're going to get back in the swing of things. We're a little bit rusty, but if there's anything we can do, that is fill up an hour of time with our voices.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
Fun. Thank you all.
thank you, County Judge Mark Keogh and Stephanie Hall, running for 9th District Court of Appeals. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be with us today, and thank you again for caring enough about our community to run for office.
Absolutely.
It's our
That's-
pleasure.
I know. Is that it?
That's it.
Are we done?
We're done.
Say goodbye.
Yeah.